Hi, welcome back to my easy method of learning guitar scales right across the neck. This is step number 4. In step number 1 we looked at the octaves of G in the G major scale. Step number 2 we looked at the 5th degree or the 5th note in the scale and learning how those notes interact with each other. And then in step number 3 we looked at the third degree of the scale, which these three notes was G, the 3rd degree is B, the 5th degree is D, and hopefully you're onto the key to this exercise is seeing how these notes interact and interrelate with one another geographically on the fretboard. So you can see a root note and then see the 3rd and see the 5th of the scale really quickly without having to try and figure it out in your head or count the notes up alphabetically up through the neck. You should be able to see these notes hopefully by you up to this point. So in this step number 4, we're going to look at another note on top of our scale, and that's going to be the 7th degree. And like I said in the last video in step number 3, after we learn the 1st, 3rd, and 5th of the scale, we've learned our major triad. Now, what we're doing by adding the 7th degree of the scale, we're expanding upon our major triad and harmonizing the scale a little bit more and giving us a major 7 arpeggio. So once again, it's too easy to do. So what we're looking at now is the 7th note in the scale. If we look at the G major scale, the first note's G, 2nd note is A, 3rd note is B, the 4th note is C, the 5th note is D, the 6th note is E, and the 7th note is F sharp. And the root note and this 7th note don't sound all that great together, but when you play them together as a chord, you get that lovely jazz sound of the major 7 chord. Alright, so once again, look at the notation tab sheets and play through the exercise and see how these notes interact with one another. And what we should also be doing, not just seeing how these notes interact with the root note, but how they interact with each other. So how does the 3rd degree interact with the 5th? How does that work geographically on the fretboard? Alright, so if we need to pull that note out and play the 3rd and the 5th of the chord for any reason, or 3rd or the 5th of the scale, we can pull that out without even thinking about it too much because we can see it appear on the fretboard. I want things to be able to you can see them rather than have, like I said, canting up through the scale on the string. So an F sharp. So you can see how the F sharp relates to our root note because there's only 7 notes in the scale. So once we come back after the 7th note, we come back to the 8th note, which is our root note again. So the 7th note is 1 fret behind our root. So that makes that really easy to find. How does that relate to the 5th note? If you look at the 5th note, just like the root and the 3rd, which was diagonally across from our root and down 1 string, the 5th note relates to the 7th note in the same fashion. You see that I've got my D and my F sharp there. Alright, so it relates to the G or the root in that fashion. So we've got our G here on our E string on the 3rd fret, and the 7th note appears on the 4th fret on the D string, which is our F sharp. One thing we want to be doing when we're working on these scales is use your mouth and audibly say these degrees and even the notes as you play them, because it'll help you memorize these patterns and these shapes and these degrees of the scale, the notes of the scale. Something happens when you actually use your mouth and speak out what you're actually learning. It helps you to memorize them a lot quicker. I don't know why that happens, but it happens. And you'll find you'll memorize these things a lot quicker if you actually say them and spell them out, like we go through G 1, B 3, D 5, F sharp 7, So, or even just going 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, and finding the other notes on the scale on the guitar fretboard as well, and doing the same thing, going 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, and so forth, all over the fretboard. So, like I said, use your mouth. You might feel like a bit of a strange person doing that, but who cares? You're in your bedroom, you're learning something that nobody else could be bothered learning. So use your mouth, even though if you feel like an idiot, because it'll help you to memorize what's going on. So if you've got once again any questions, feel free to drop me a line. Thanks.